Hello, welcome back to another DJ and Vish show. We are back with the Carl from the baseball show. So let me take that off. But we are back to talk some Canes football on Sunday
We
morning
can
in
do
our.
baseball eventually too.
Think Jazz might get upset about baseball, but yeah, we are back in our normal time slot. DJ, thanks for getting up with me this morning.
Yeah, no, it feels good to kind of be back on a normal schedule. I know you're doing some traveling, and
Yeah, I was out of town much of last week, so it's good to be back in the
you
East
were in
Coast.
San Diego, right?
Yes, that's correct.
I've heard it's beautiful out there, so that's one of the places I want to go.
Yeah, no, it is gorgeous out there for sure, especially for those of you stuck with an actual winter.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, so there has, obviously it's the football off season, but it's going to be a little bit of a shorter one for the Canes this time with the season running into late January. As of this is February 15th, Sunday morning. There's no spring football schedule that I've seen at least, so we're still awaiting that. But there is some movement in the coaching ranks. So we talked about Cody Woodall previously. That was kind of right after the playoffs ended. But since we've last had a show, a couple of more coaches have left the staff to both of them to join the Cardinals. Ironically, I guess we'll start with the one that kind of happened a little bit further back, which is Matt Merritt, running backs coach. Mario brought him into 2024. He was here a couple of years, and now he's off to do the same position at the Cardinals. What are your thoughts there, DJ?
I think it's important to have a running backs coach. I'm not sure how much with this particular group that it's a huge loss based just on their overall skill. I mean, that room is loaded. I'm pretty sure you could put me as running backs coach, and I'd do an okay job. So, I mean, I think this is a loss, but I'm not sure how much it's going to impact the running back room. Granted, the running backs did play well last year, and we kind of saw them really become a focal point of the offense with production. And so, yeah, I'm not sure because I think the talent will be able to offset the loss of Merritt, but at the same time, you lose continuity and things like that. So I'm not sure how big of a loss this is, but it's definitely nothing to just kind of gloss over, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, he's been here 2 years. The running backs have improved year over year. So that's, in that sense, that's, it's not the one you want. We don't want any of these guys, to be honest. We had a great year last year, but so we don't want to see that. But I am curious. I think one impact could be, we've talked a lot about how loaded this running back room, how surprised we were that no one transferred out of it. Matt Merritt was the guy kind of determining who plays. Shannon Dawson was very vocal about that. Because this is obviously anyone watching this show, really anyone watching any Canes football, knows that, Marty Brown didn't play a lot down the stretch of the season. Then towards the end of the Ohio State game, all of a sudden he's in there making big plays. And Dawson's like, yeah, Matt Merritt felt, he was ready to come in there and make plays. So you put him in. Someone's going to have to, it's in a way it's first world problems because there's so much talent, but someone's going to figure out who does what and when. And that was Matt Merritt. And, when no one transferred, it was likely due to conversations with him and talking about what their role would be. So this, I think that'll be interesting to see if there's kind of any shift in the pack. I don't think there's any doubt Fletcher will be running back one, but it's kind of open behind that. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any shift there. Shout out to Canes up, Knowles down. Yeah, good morning to you as well.
Hey, good morning.
So, as you mentioned, though, glass half full. Obviously, we don't want any of these coaches to leave, especially after the year we just had. But this is a loaded running back room. What caliber of coach do you think the Canes can attract into that spot?
In terms of just like overall skill, I think they could attract a high level coach. I mean, you have Mario Cristobal, who is very good overall with building a stable program. You have a team that was runner up in the national championship game, and you have so many talented running backs to work with. And not only do you have so many talented running backs to work with, you can sell to recruits, the talent in this running back room. And hey, you can be that next guy. You can be, the next star here. You can be the next, Mark Fletcher. So there's a lot to sell with this Miami program, both in terms of to recruits and to, a prospective assistant coach. So I expect, that they should be able to get a really good one.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think they should, again, it's an attractive place to be right now. When you look at what coaches look for, it's exposure, it's opportunity, ability to coach talent. Miami's got all of that now. And anytime you're replacing someone that left because they went to the NFL, that position inherently becomes attractive because it means it's one that the NFL will look at, that see you at, and potentially most of these guys are looking for that next step to the next level. Some of them are, college coaches for life, especially with salaries the way they are in college as well. Now it used to be if you wanted a big paycheck, you had to go to the NFL. You don't have to do that anymore. But still, if you're looking to stepping stone, I don't think anyone wants to stop at running backs coach. So everyone's looking to kind of step up to the next position. It's one that has a lot of exposure and a lot of potential to really have these running backs perform really well this year and get that running backs coach a lot of visibility and ability to kind of move up the coaching ladder. So I think it's a very attractive position. With that said, the one thing is it's not a position for everyone because, Mario works tirelessly, constantly, and expects the same of his staff.
Good point.
So, and I don't think he'll bring someone in that's not gonna share those work ethic values, but there's definitely, especially on the first staff, there was certainly an issue there where I think a lot of kind of veteran, high profile veteran coaches we had just were not in the phase of their career where they were expecting to put in that kind of work, and I think that caused issues.
I agree. And but like you said, I think this is a position, for the right guy, like you said, a chance to elevate their career more than just, a running backs coach for life, but a chance to put on your resume, hey, I was a running backs coach for Miami under Mario Cristobal, and honestly, if Fletcher does well this season and Brown does well this season and whoever else is in this running back room does well, that's something you could put on your resume without having to do necessarily a ton of work on field due to their talent. So, I mean, it's an attractive position for the right guy.
It is. So do you think how do you think Coach Criswell's going to approach this? Do you think it's going to, because there's kind of two ways I see it. If there's a third way or whatever, I'll certainly feel free to offer it up, but you have the option of going kind of an established veteran coach that, been there, done that. I think he can poach off of most of the staffs in the country. Or you can go for kind of maybe a younger, more hungry, up and coming guy that maybe is less established, maybe higher upside. What are your thoughts there in terms of how you think you'll approach it?
I think I'll honestly go for the younger guy with higher upside. I do think he likes to help develop coaches, and this is a good situation for a young guy with high upside to be in. Like you said, and like we saw on the previous staff, I don't know if a veteran coach would want to necessarily put all the work in that Mario requires. Maybe that's a job suited for a younger guy who wants to build his way up. And if you're a younger guy, to get a shot to coach running backs for the Miami Hurricanes, again, a national championship runner-up with exposure and a high-profile program, that does sound very attractive. So I think a younger guy here makes more sense to me.
Yeah, I agree, especially since you have a pretty established group right now. So, Dawson's been here a while now, and he's, probably on the path to getting a head coaching job in the near future. Obviously, Maribel and Cristobal are joining the hips. Kevin Beard's a local. guy. He's been here for now. We don't have a tight ends coach either. We're still got to hire that. But the rest of that offensive staff is very experienced. So I think, going maybe younger might be the move.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn from here.
Yeah, Anthony's just saying, most of the guys seem to have more experience. I don't think he's saying get someone unexperienced. Like you could literally, I would say you could go poach, pick a school, you could probably poach the running backs coach. So do you want to go that route? Do you want to go with someone that's a little bit more, I don't know if experience is the right word, or more malleable, maybe is the right word. That someone that isn't kind of set in this is how I do things.
That's a good word, yeah.
Because they'll all have some experience. We're not going to go get a high school running backs coach and promote them up to that. I'd be shocked if something like that happened.
No.
I meant more like this guy's been a running backs coach for 15 years. He knows what he does. He does it this way. That's the way he does things. Versus, someone that maybe is year or two and is a little bit more flexible.
Right, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying to just grab the running backs coach from Northwestern High and put him on the staff, but
we're 100% hiring the guy for it.
I know, right, yeah. But someone who's maybe not and I'm using this just in terms of the experience sense, like a Charlie Strong type, more so as a younger type, maybe 2 or 3 years in college football, potentially at a high-profile program with an analyst role or a running backs assistant, trying to take that next step. Not a completely green college coaching guy, but not a veteran who's been around the block. Yeah, no,
I agree. So I think he'll likely do that because again, they need to fit into the current staff dynamic. So I think getting someone that's maybe used to doing things a certain way in particular might be a little bit challenging.
I don't even think they need to fit into a certain staff dynamic. They just need to be able to say yes, Mario, or no, Mario, or okay, Mario, and that way he'll fit in right there.
Well, Mario does give his coaches, again, I think he's more about putting, because Dawson has a lot of autonomy. I think it's more just, if you don't put the work in, he's not going to tolerate that. And so, and anytime you run like a practice, right, you're absolutely correct. It takes the tone from the head coach. So there's a certain way of working just that any head coach has, that when you're in practice, this is how we're going to do things. This is our, they call it their operations. And they're going to have to do that. And you have to be able to willing to work however we do that. But yeah, the work ethic thing, that's just not negotiable. You're not gonna be burning the midnight oil at the athletic center. You're not gonna be long here. Couple of questions from Anthony in the chat. Do you guys think we can bring James Coley back for Titans coach? He's the wide receivers coach at Georgia right now.
I don't.
I would be surprised.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if he would want it. He'd been the offensive coordinator here and Titans coach previously, but that was, and then he went to A&M with Jimbo, and then South Carolina and Georgia. I don't know if there's any relationship with Mario there either. This was Al Golden era that he was here, so I'd be pretty surprised. Be pretty surprised if he was interested in doing that, and pretty surprised if we were interested in him. It doesn't seem like
he's got a pretty good setup at Georgia. I mean, let's be honest, he's got a pretty good.
Yeah. And then another comment, kind of Anthony, in terms of tight ends and running backs coach. Shan Dawson does leave for head coaching him. Don't we need to bring someone from that power area coach to be a position coach at either running back or tight ends? No. The offensive coordinator is going to run his system. So if Dawson, obviously, he's not leaving this year. So he's going to be running his system the next season. If, let's say, 2027 he gets a head coaching job, we will hire an offensive coordinator to run that offensive coordinator system. You can't force a system on the new offensive coordinator in the name of continuity. And the running backs coach, wide receivers coach, I don't think there's any indication of Dawson were to leave after year, we'd be promoting that guy. So that is. Yeah, I don't think so. And I think one of the things we can call Dawson's system of power, air raid, we can call it whatever we want. he's evolved over the 3 years he's been here. This offense has changed over multiple times, and one of the things I think that makes him an excellent offensive coordinator is he adapts to the talent he has and the team he's playing pretty well. I mean, I know DJ, you and I've gotten frustrated a few times with him. Jim Ball, what are you doing? But by and large, I mean, he does. I mean, we played different styles with Tyler Van Dyke, and then with Cam Ward, and then with Carson Beck, and I'm sure we're going to see another evolution of that this year. So he's just very good. I think versus like the system itself, really, the system is him being very good and adaptable.
That, and I think it's also a pro style system. Like, yes, it's air raid, but it mirrors a lot of Big Ten schools and things like that. So it's very quarterback friendly, no matter what kind of spin he tries to put on it. And I think he does a good job of kind of keeping the same base offense, but allowing the offense itself and drawing up plays and schemes to fit the quarterback he has under center.
Yeah, I think the air raid part is the pass game concepts.
Yeah,
a lot of throws to the boundaries, a lot of screen passes to the receivers. That
a lot of deep throws too.
Yeah, a lot of shot plays. That's your air raid concepts, but look, we build these offensive lines and get these running backs, and damn sure gonna use them. So there's gonna be a lot of and Mirabal and Mario, that they run a pro style running game, right? You're not gonna see a lot of like option or read options, although there was a little bit more at Cam Ward just because he can get the ball out. But we don't really have the running quarterbacks do that kind of a running game. Mensa maybe a little bit more, but I don't think we want to expose them to hits anyway. So we're not that type of team that's going to do a lot of read option stuff. And it's going to be like you said, pro style run concepts, air raid style passing, but balance wise, yeah, it's not dissimilar from an NFL offense. And I think again, though, he's shown. Although we're kind of loaded now, so he can kind of do both things. But he has shown an ability to adapt the offense to whatever makes sense. So I would expect that to continue.
And it's going to be really interesting to see how he uses Mensa and what type of offense what type of not offense but schemes and concepts he uses with Mensa under center, because Mensa is a little bit more mobile than Carson Beck, for example. He's not at the level of Cam Ward, in my opinion, but he's similar play style to that. So I'm very curious to see what he does in the offense this year.
Yeah, like I said, I think we're going to see another evolution of his offense to fit his talent again. Change that receiver too, obviously with Barcade coming in. I mean, if you think about that, he's so just to praise Dawson a little bit more, and then I do see your comment. Kane's up nose down. We're about to talk about defense in a second. We lost Zach Etheridge as well. If you think about like what, obviously Malachi Tony is a ridiculous player, but the way this is a kid that came in as a true freshman, 17 years old, and you're never sure what you're going to get with a true freshman. I think especially Blue was like, no, this guy's the real deal. He's ready right now. And as that started to evolve over time, you saw his role expand and, Dawson find more and more ways to get him the ball. That was not something that was like there in the first game. Like against Notre Dame, you didn't see. And then by the last game, like the last touchdown we scored this year was like that fake running back run reverse. I guess technically it's a pop pass because Carson Beck got his touchdown pass for it, but that's where stuff was added to the playbook, and that just shows like he's looking at what he's got there, and he'll evolve over time, and it's kind of cool now. It's cool. It's also exhausting, but with the 16-game potential season, actually, it's technically you could potentially play 17 if you lose your conference championship game and then end up not getting a bye. But that number of games, you really do see these coaches evolve over the season. So I think we saw Dawson realize he had something really special in Malachi, and then it was just like, how do we get this guy the ball? And we saw all these wrinkles added to the offense that weren't there at the beginning of the year.
Well, like you said before, it's almost like 2 seasons, right? The first half of the season and then like the second half of the season, including the playoffs. And, as tiring as that season was, we got to see the players develop over the course of, quite a good amount of time. And like you mentioned, we saw Tony get more involved in the offense, and I think Dawson, kind of got more trust in him as the year went on, and rightfully so. And I know I've said this on here and on the show on Monday, but it's just crazy to me that he's a freshman. Like, I can't believe he played as a true freshman last year, because he looks ready to go to the league right now.
Yeah, I had to deliver some bad news to my 4-year-old nephew yesterday when he was telling me how his favorite player is number 10, and I had to tell him Malachi changed his number, which he was not happy about. And I was like, "Yeah, he's gonna be wearing number 1 next year, buddy." He was not happy about that, but he'll be fine. It just means I have to buy him more merch. Anyway, so he's got his number 10 jersey. He's very proud of. Like, you're gonna have to get a number 1.
Hey, he can keep it and then like frame it and hang it on his wall or something.
Yeah, yes,
Exactly.
maybe we'll do something with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so real quick before we pivot to defense, so then kind of get out of here, there's not really much else going on. So there are two we mentioned. There's tight end coach, running backs coach. Do you think we just straight hire replacements and kind of keep the staff mix? We talked about this before, but in college you're limited to the number of on-field coaches, so it's not like you can just hire whatever you want. You do kind of have to fit within the. Or do you think there is you think we're going to hire a tight ends coach and dedicate one and another running backs coach? You think we do something else?
Yeah, I think we just hire one and kind of figure it out, if that makes sense. I mean, I don't feel like we're going to make big moves for separate coaches or anything like that. That's just my read on it, but I could be wrong. But I feel like at this stage of the game, it's just they're just going to keep it in house and maybe combine the two.
Well, you think they might just hire one coach to replace both?
Yeah, or I mean, because the tight ends and running back, like I have seen tight ends and running backs coaches. So
no, they definitely could. So that would free up a coaching position.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly think it might be something like that.
That'll be interesting. Yeah, because we have not replaced Woody yet, which has been a while. So
my favorite position is getting neglected, and I'm not happy about it. So I better do something soon.
What are you talking about? We had tight end one last year.
Oh yes, we did.
No, but we'll we'll see. The other thing I think will be interesting, and this is kind of related to all three of the potential coaching. There are going to be 3 coaching hires. We'll see where they slot them in. I think Mario's primarily been handling special teams. Wondering if we get someone else to do some of that too. So,
I mean, you could have 75 analysts now, and nobody bats an eye. So,
yeah, but it is a little bit different for the on-field coaches. They're allowed to be a little bit more hands-on. So,
yeah,
and there are three empty spots that they will be able to fill. So it's up to Mario to figure out how he wants to deploy those people, but.
It's interesting that 2 of them are going to the Cardinals, like the same team. I wonder.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, I don't know if not sure I don't know. I'd be worried with an NFL. No knock on Attrition Barrett. Obviously, we love him, want to stay, but I'd be a little bit worried if I'm an NFL team poaching a bunch of guys off a single college staff. That. I don't know.
I mean, the Cardinals aren't exactly known for running a solid ship, so there is that too. But I mean, hey, if you have an opportunity to coach the NFL, you may never get it again, so you got to jump at it while you can, I guess.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, so talking about the other side of the ball, I alluded to this earlier. Zach Etheridge gone to the Cardinals as well. He was cornerbacks and passing game coordinator. Thoughts on this? It's kind of weird because another thing that not every school does is divide, safeties and corners under different coaches. We obviously have. What are your thoughts there?
This one I think stings a little bit more for me because I felt like the corners played really well this season, and it was a marked improvement over last year. Although that's not saying much, but I thought they played really well, and I thought the way he coached and the way the corners played complemented Corey Heatherman's defense very well. So I think this is definitely a big loss. And, I'm not going to sit here and say it's the end of the world and Miami will never recover, but I do think that there was production at the corner position and last year. And I think this one will maybe sting a little bit early on, but not it's not going to be a gaping hole the entire season, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, yeah. I mean, obviously, I think this is when they're definitely going to replace. There's none of that. There's not going to be any of that. Like, maybe we'll plug someone in or move someone out. I think this is when you're going to want to get someone into that position. And I do think, sometimes we give people titles and it doesn't really mean anything. I do think the pass game coordinator for the defense does mean something here. I think, as you mentioned, he coached the corners, but he's also kind of responsible for a lot of the pass defense schemes and concepts and which corners are out there in what situations. And did a really good job of mixing and matching there. Remember, we ran out of cornerbacks in the middle of the playoffs and kept winning. So, and kept winning while playing good defense. So I think by the end of the Ole Miss game, we basically had no one left. And so he did a really great job there.
I thought so too.
Yeah. And so Kane's up, nose down, does bring up a name here. Patrick Surtain Jr. obviously was unceremoniously let go by Florida State, where he was an assistant coach. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I absolutely bring him in. He knows the Florida area, obviously. He knows the corner position really well, obviously. Bring him in if you can. And this is the type of move where, Miami and, working with these corners and again, the brand and stuff like that could really elevate him further, more so than he already is. So if they can get him, absolutely bring him in.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. He's obviously got a lot of local ties. Kane's up, nose down mentioned home run recruiter. He definitely is. He's from American. He was at American Heritage coaching as well, so he's got those tie-ins locally. Obviously, he's very popular locally from his time with the Dolphins as well. So, yeah, he's a big name. Again, I think Mario always does his due diligence. We appear to be like the slowest hiring school in the country when it comes to So the due diligence will happen. But yeah, I think he's certainly an option. Again, Florida State's a dumpster fire in many ways, and I think he was certainly scapegoated. Norvell's trying to save his job, but also, I mean, the performance. And I think most of this is Norvell down, but the performance hasn't been there at that school. So I do think some due diligence is necessary to see if that is the right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like rats on a sinking ship. You know what I mean? Like
it is, but but it's the team has been bad, and and so when you start hiring coaches off of bad teams that got fired. Again, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying I think a thorough evaluation is needed. Again, Mario does everything thoroughly. That's why it takes us forever to hire everyone. So that'll happen. I do think it's a really good. It's an interesting option of someone that's available now. Of course, we have the money to buy people out and bring them from any staff in the country. So not really. We don't need to. 10 years ago it was who's available that we can afford. That's not really a question anymore. So there'll be other options as well, but I'm sure he's definitely in the mix there. I think we all thought when we saw it, hey, Patrick Surtain is available and is an option.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think about this comment from Kane's up, nose down about the NFL poaching Miami's coaches, but not Indiana's?
I mean, I think it's hard to say because I think it says something about the culture of Kurt Cignetti. I think that group is very close. And I'm not sure that they would want to leave yet because honestly, they are just kind of starting to build this thing. They started to build it in 2024. Obviously, they won the national championship in 2025. I think maybe one more good season next year, which they could have, and then you'll start seeing some coaches leave. I still think Indiana is not thought of as a, premier program yet in the eyes of many. I think it's getting there, and I think this national championship certainly expedited the process. But I think Miami has, the name recognition and the legacy of being a good program, and obviously this year making the national championship game. I think Miami has a lot more going for it in terms of longevity and historical success and the sort of not assumption, but the belief that they're a well-run program. I still think Indiana is kind of new, but I think they're going to get there at some point soon.
I don't know. We'll see how long they can keep that up. But also, even if they do, like Miami's always been a school that the NFL, part of it's probably location. You play in a pro town, so there's just a lot more exposure on the NFL level. Like you get a lot more scouts in. Like the Dolphins are playing on Sunday at home. Like the opposing team's going to have their scouts at the Miami game for sure. I know teams send scouts to every game, like that. There's a big time prospect, and obviously Miami's playing. There's going to be at least one that they're going to want to look at. But I think there's just a lot of inherent exposure being in Miami, playing, in a visible stadium that like every coaches go to hang out at. And so I think this has always been a program that gets just a lot of coach. This is not saying Indiana's going to stink or anything, or that Indiana. I'm just, for whatever reason, Miami's always been an attractive stepping stone to the NFL job for the head coaches, the assistant coaches, for everyone. So I don't know if it says anything about Indiana's coaches on the college level, but I fully expect, like, for example, Jason Taylor to get poached at some point and go to the NFL as well if he wants to. Now, he might not want to. There's also that issue, right? If coaches want to stay in college, I do think, again, Miami is a pro sports town. The Hurricanes Hurricanes football is the biggest team in town when they're good. Like, nothing is like that, not even the Heat. But they're treated as another pro sports team. They're not treated as like, oh, let's, get out your pom-poms and cheer for college. Like, that's not how it's treated here. And so the coaches attracted to this job also generally have been a pro sports town, basically coaching a pro team on the college level. Whereas, if you're going to go coach at most schools, you're living in a college town. It's a completely different lifestyle, completely different everything. There are exceptions, obviously. DJ's neighborhood, like Boston College, is also Boston's a pro sports town, although I know it's in the suburbs, but still, it's Boston proper. It's Boston, Columbus. I don't know if most people know it's a pretty big city that Ohio State's in. So there are exceptions, but Texas plays in Austin, again, a pretty big city. But most schools, obviously USC's in LA, there are exceptions, but most colleges are in college towns and it's just a completely different lifestyle. Whereas, for the few schools that are in actual cities, you're already living the city life. And so it's more attractive also for you to jump to the NFL. You're already kind of doing a lot of what that entails. Or if you're going to someone that's, coaching in Oxford, Mississippi, it's a pretty big jump up to them be like, oh, you're going to go live in LA and coach for the Rams. Totally different life. And some of them like the smaller town life in the college life. I will say though,
that's what Indiana has, honestly.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean so. I don't know that. Who knows if they got calls and like, no, won't go to the NFL. It's not because again, we talked about this earlier. There's so much money in college football now. It used to be. First, it started with if you want to make a lot of money as a head coach, you had to go to the NFL. Then it started like the head coaches got paid, but not all the assistants get paid. Now the assistants get paid, and making high six, low seven figures as an assistant coach in Indiana is a lot less expensive than doing the same, making the same, or maybe even a little less, and living in Los Angeles. So the
honestly, like
even necessarily
there's the family factors too. Like if you're an Indiana coach or even a Miami coach and your family's comfortable here, you've got a stable program, you're coming off a national championship. I mean, you like it here, and it's a little bit slower paced than the NFL. Then that's all the more reason to stay. Like I know Signetti's group has been with him for a while, and they've probably made their homes in Indiana and things like that too. So there's a bunch of different factors. I mean, it's a lot to just get up and leave.
For sure, and that's another good call, DJ. It's another factor. Remember, I've turned the staff over multiple times. So like Merritt's been here 2 years. Etheridge's only here 1 year, so they haven't really fully settled in either. So again, it's more attractive to them. Kane's up, Knowles down. Yeah, no, I agree. FSU fired all their best coaches. Norvell's a disaster. The question is, are the best coaches on a team that bad worthy of coaching at Miami? And I don't know the answer. I'm a big fan of Surtain. I certainly would not have an issue hiring him. But I'm just saying it's not like a no-brainer. Just Mario's got to do some diligence on exactly that.
And I have to say that
anything
probably
coming out of that dumpster fire is going to have some garbage on them. To be honest.
Yeah, no, and anybody that stayed with Norvell heading into this season, I think knew what they were signing up for. Even the new coordinators that came in. So, you know.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's yeah. I mean, look, it's a job, right? So I think some of them are like it's a job, paycheck for a year. There's that, and look, it's a major program. Like the 1 in 100 chance he turns this around, you're going to look really good. But yeah, the ones that were fired were again scapegoated. So it's not disqualifying to me, but it does look more needs more analysis. Also saying Jason Taylor goes anywhere else but the Dolphins. I agree. I don't. I agree, and that's why I said I think he's a little bit different. I don't even know that he wants to leave the college ranks. He's been remember he coached high school. Like, NFL Hall of Famers do not need to start in high school. He just likes coaching.
And I'll say this as a former, as a Boston College follower and things like that, I wouldn't necessarily put all of my eggs in the Jeff Hafley basket and him being around here long term either. So if you have a cushy job with the Canes and you don't want to go into the NFL ranks, then then I don't see him leaving necessarily.
Well, Hafley has filled the staff out anyway for this year, so I think we're good there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know because Stephen Ross tends to have patience with coaches, and his boy is the new GM, so I think he'll get some time, whether or not he should. So whatever. This is not. We'll let the 3 yards per carry guys deal with the the Dolphins. We win playoff games around here. So
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, yeah, so that's kind of the news from the last couple of weeks. Obviously, we were off last week, so a lot of coaching kind of shifting here. We'll get Blue's take on that tomorrow on Six Rings Cane Show as well at 8:30. See if he's got any insight into where the Canes are looking as well. DJ, anything else you want to cover here as we head towards wrapping this up?
No, I'm wearing my Hurricanes baseball shirt today.
Baseball.
I
will be out there in about an hour. Yeah, it started on Friday. Noon first pitch today. Head out to the light if you're local to Miami.
Yeah, nice. It's so weird. It's like still cold here, and now baseball's already starting. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, for non Floridians and like Arizona and Southern California, they do a lot of tournaments this time of year and in indoor major league stadiums. So you'll see a lot of a lot of the programs like playing in MLB ballparks that are covered because again, as DJ said, most of the country cannot play baseball in February. However, we can. So head out to the light if you're not doing anything. First pitch is at 12:02.
And it's crazy when you have a deep football playoff run, how much that expedites the rest of the offseason for the other sports.
It is on. In fact, so coming up, Formula One's about to start back up. This other one of my shows. So there's no offseason for me this year. But so actually, schedule coming up this week. Obviously, we have this show Sunday. On Monday, we got Six Rings at 8:30. I got Formula One at 10. And then we'll be squeezing in a Canes on deck at some point. There's 2 midweek games. We got buckets on Thursday after the women's game, so around 10-11 p.m. We'll see. Whenever because the women's game is late, it's at 8 p.m. So we'll be doing a post game on that. Yeah, and actually, if you're a Miami Hurricanes fan, baseball today. Monday there's nothing. So just watch our show. That's what we should be doing anyway. Tuesday there's baseball and men's basketball on campus. I'm a double header that. And then Wednesday baseball, Thursday women's hoops also on campus, and then there's a weekend set at the light Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So lots going on campus. Definitely head out to support these programs. DJ, thanks for hanging with me on Sunday morning. Great to be back.
Absolutely. Thank you for waking me up. It was a close one again, but I made it.
All right, man. All right, take care, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Go Canes.
Yeah, go Canes. See you tomorrow.